Good morning, everyone. I think we're ready to get started. I'm really excited to kick off this webinar. I don't get to do this very often, but I am going to actually kick off today, do the introductions, and give a little bit of an initial part of the presentation. So I'm really excited. So today's webinar is how to leverage IDP, Intelligent Document Processing, in your digital transformation. This is a powerful new AI solution presented by ProcessMaker, and I'm really excited to tell you what we've got for you today. So in case, so on today's webinar, you've got myself. I'm Brian Reel. I'm the founder and CEO of ProcessMaker. I'm really excited to be joined by a couple of my colleagues. Wim van Dam, who has just joined ProcessMaker as part of an announcement that I'm going to explain in a moment. He is our VP of Sales for IDP Technology. Richard Smith, VP of Technology for IDP. And we've also got a special guest, Scott Foster from Caceis, a customer and product specialist at Caceis, working with the IDP technology. We're also going to be joined by Peter DeWitt, product manager for IDP technology now for ProcessMaker. So for those of you who missed it, we made an announcement a few weeks ago, which is a really, really exciting announcement for ProcessMaker. And the announcement was that ProcessMaker has joined forces with a company in the Netherlands called DocuLayer. So this was an acquisition by ProcessMaker of DocuLayer, which is both a company and a technology. DocuLayer is a company that has been developing an intelligent document processing solution for some time, has a true A-list of customers, mostly in the Netherlands, some in the UK, and has a technology that we found very complementary to ProcessMaker for a number of important reasons, which I'll go into in a moment. So this is our first webinar as a joint team. We've been very busy over the last few weeks integrating the two companies. And as I'll talk about in a moment, this integration makes a lot of sense for us, and we believe for you, our customers, and potentially new customers that want to see these two technologies work together. So for those of you who aren't so familiar with ProcessMaker or might be new to us or just need a bit of a refresher, ProcessMaker is a company which until now had really just specialized in digital process automation. Now we're joining digital process automation and intelligent document processing. We have over 400 customers in 52 different countries, so quite global. We're processing more than 50 million cases a year. A case would be an iteration through a process. So if that is a bank that's doing account opening processes, that would be an account opening. Or if it was a loan origination process, it would be a loan originated. Or if it's a purchase request for a finance department, it would be a purchase request. We also are a company that really has a true open source component and true open source roots. ProcessMaker has an open source core. Our open source has been downloaded more than 2 million times around the globe. We were about 180 employees. Now with the combined entities, we're about 200 employees. We have about 3 million users across our customer base, and we've been in business for more than 20 years, 22 years to be exact. And as you'll see, we have offices in the US, a couple offices in Latin America, an office in India, and an office in the Netherlands as well. So why IDP? Why intelligent document processing? Why does this make so much sense for ProcessMaker? So let me go through some of those reasons. First off, it's really a natural extension for our customer base and the verticals we serve. ProcessMaker has developed core solutions in a number of verticals. We've done a lot in the last few years in banking. We have more than 50 banks globally using the ProcessMaker solution. And in the last couple of years, we began developing a true end-to-end solution for account opening, both at the commercial and retail level, mostly focused on mid-market banks in the US. That complements what we're doing with international banks around the globe that are using us for hundreds of different processes. So that's one of the verticals. We've gone very deep in the banking and finance vertical. Higher education is another place where we have a very strong concentration of customers, more than 200 universities now automating hundreds of different processes on ProcessMaker, everything from declaring a major to requesting a grade change, to transferring a credit, to handling back office finance processes. Another strong vertical for us is manufacturing. So these tend to be customers that are using ProcessMaker alongside their core ERPs like SAP and others. And then OEM, we've been embedded in a number of other software companies that want to make sure that they're using the absolute best in business process management technology, in workflow technology. So they've taken our core application and embedded that workflow engine inside their system, be it an ERP, a document management system, a CRM system, or some other type of enterprise system. Workflow is always a part of those systems, and many companies find that they need a specialized workflow system. So IDP was really an extension of this. It works well in each of those verticals. We recognize that customers have data that's trapped in documents, and they want to be able to extract that metadata and put it to use in processes. So really, it's documents that are coming in the form of emails, in the form of PDF documents, where they might be structured or they might be unstructured, but there's data in those documents that can help us in our processes. And that runs the gamut of those core verticals. So that was one reason. Secondly, DocuLayer, we looked at a lot of different IDP technology, and DocuLayer was by far the best. It was extremely well built. Kudos to Richard and the team he has built in the Netherlands. They're really developing first-rate technology, a beautiful interface. It's a low-code interface so that customers can also address different use cases in their organization, and we really felt it was a perfect fit with ProcessMaker. Thirdly, this idea of unlocking business value from data. So ProcessMaker is all about improving the way processes are run, improving efficiency across processes, improving the end-to-end SLA or service level agreement that can be delivered to a customer. And we can't do that without the data that's flowing through the process. And a lot of that data is trapped in documents. So think about an account opening process where business documents get uploaded. We need to know who's on those business documents, when they were signed, if they're still valid, all sorts of things. And those are usually trapped in PDFs. We want to be able to get that data out of the PDFs. We want to do it in a way that is not the way some of the older OCR companies used to do this, if you're familiar with that term, where you have to develop specifically say where data is located on a document and that's what you want to capture. That ends up being very brittle. Intelligent document processing is exactly the opposite. It learns patterns, and based on these patterns, it can figure out what data it's looking for, even if there's slight variations or quite a lot of variations in the formats that this data is coming in. So think about pay slips from companies. They're not all the same, but the data we want to capture is the same. The processes tend to focus on high volumes. So we're uploading lots of documents, and those tend to be the processes that we're focusing on in digital process automation. Again, if it's an account opening or a loan or a request, a change request of some type, ProcessMaker tends to handle these things at scale, and IDP also works well at scale. It's a great way to kickstart processes. Maybe a document is the first thing that we receive. We want to get the data out of the documents. We want to push it into a process and go forward. Finally, the types of processes that we saw that DocuLayer had been working on were mission critical processes. DocuLayer in its customer list has the largest retail client in the Netherlands, has large financial institutions. These are companies that are looking at mission critical processes. They have problems with those processes and the data that's trapped in the documents, and that complements what ProcessMaker is doing. Our mission is to automate unique complex business processes. If it's not unique, it's probably already automated in an off-the-shelf piece of software. And if it's not mission critical, we don't believe we're going to deliver enough value. So we're really looking to solve mission critical processes for our customers. These will reduce costs for customers, reduce errors, increase ability of our customers to be compliant with regulatory requirements, and basically reduce and get rid of the sort of manual tasks that people are doing. So we talk about that swivel chair task of entering data that we receive from one piece of information, again, potentially a document, into a process. That's what we're trying to eliminate. So the problem, as we mentioned, is there's an explosion of data that's trapped in documents. There's high costs associated with not accessing that data. Customers are spending too much time searching for data inefficiently. That's one of the big problems. Manual tasks are more of a problem now than they ever were before. There's a massive labor shortage, as we all know. There's also a much greater rotation of employees in businesses. And so things that can be automated and that are menial tasks that people didn't want to do really in the first place anyway, they need to be automated. The other thing is just errors. People make errors. Machines will make a lot less errors once they're trained to find the data we're looking for. And finally, there's risks. If this is a compliance issue, which in many cases, many customers, it is a compliance issue. You know, one of the customers that we're dealing with, it has to make sure that the final report it emits is consistent with the data it originally ingested, and it wants to compare that data because a mistake there could be millions of dollars in fines. So those are just a few of the reasons where it really makes sense for us. So the product, as you'll see today from our IDP specialists, it digitizes, so it does what the history of kind of pulling data out of documents would do. We can convert images into machine readable data, so data that can be pulled out. We can classify documents, so we know what type of document has been uploaded without having somebody open the documents to figure out, was that a tax return? Was that a business license document? Or was that an ID card uploaded? We can do that all automatically. We know that a number of our banking clients are struggling with that today. Extracting the data, we want to be able to extract the data. So a lot of times that involves image correction, and then it does involve some level of OCR. Once we've identified the data, we want to be able to extract it. And then we also want to be able to store and search it. So one of the wonderful things about our IDP product is that it also has storage capabilities and an incredibly powerful search capability. So enabling people to take advantage of the information that's come out of those documents. And finally, before I hand it over to one of our next colleagues, these are the customers that are currently using our IDP solution. So these are, as you'll recognize, tier 1 A-list names, Ahold, the largest retailer in the Netherlands, KPN, the largest telecommunications company in the Netherlands, ANWB, Caceis, from Bank Agricole, another company. So really top tier customers, the Ministry of Justice, which has more than 500 million documents that it's processed through our IDP solution. So this is a tried and proven solution, and you'll learn more about it in the next 30 or 40 minutes. So with that, I will hand it over to my colleague. I believe Wim is going to be speaking next.
Good morning. My name is Wim van Dam and I'm the VP of Sales for ProcessMaker IDP. During the next 25 minutes we will be explaining you more about the ProcessMaker IDP product. We will also show you 3 short live demos that highlight how ProcessMaker IDP fits in various business scenarios. Let me start by explaining how we position our solution. With ProcessMaker IDP, we focus on unstructured documents that occur in your business processes and require a significant amount of manual labor to process them. We provide the latest AI and machine learning technologies that will allow you to fully automate these tedious and time-consuming tasks. With our technology, your documents can be classified automatically and find, extract and validate valuable data. So what do we actually mean by processing unstructured documents? Let me explain with some examples. Imagine the vast amount of documents you receive via different channels. Before you know what to do with them, or in which business process they belong, you would need to know what kind of document it is and what it is about. Instead of an employee performing that task manually, ProcessMaker IDP can identify the document type automatically and tag it with relevant topics, so it can be sent to the right process directly. Another example is the processing of a form, for example an application form for a loan. Instead of looking up relevant data in the form and enter them manually in the associated business application, ProcessMaker IDP can read your form and take over most of your time-consuming data entry work. Another great use case of ProcessMaker IDP is in KYC, where people spend a lot of time reviewing documents and ensuring that the customer dossier is compliant and complete. With our AI engine, we automatically detect all documents in the dossier and verify its completeness. If GDPR is a concern to you, our product helps you to manage your data according to legislation. With our pre-trained models, ProcessMaker IDP looks up and identifies personal and confidential information on the fly and will mask it for you. You have a large amount of documents stored in different silos, file shares and archives, and has it become impossible to gain insight manually? ProcessMaker IDP can automatically crawl all your documents, classify and index them, and apply rules to identify risks and opportunities. And finally, with ProcessMaker IDP, the average time of 18 minutes for workers to find the documents they need is history. All documents are classified and fully indexed for easy retrieval and future use. Instantly. So what do we mean with unstructured documents? Unstructured documents are everywhere, and in fact more than 80% of all content used by employees in your organizations is unstructured. Even the presentation you are currently looking at is an example of an unstructured document. Unstructured data comes in many different formats. An example is a physical letter you receive or an email with attachments. Other examples include PDF documents, text files, various image formats such as JPEG or PNG, and a wide range of common Office document formats. In addition, there are hundreds of different document types which are required and processed in business processes. Some well-known and often used types include application forms, a bank statement, passport or ID card, utility bill, invoices, receipts, payslips and different types of contracts. Depending on your business process, there can be many more and other types. The ProcessMaker IDP product consists of 3 building blocks. The first block is the digitization engine, also known as OCR or optical character recognition. This is where documents are prepared for further processing by converting all images with text to machine-readable data. ProcessMaker OCR supports over 100 languages and delivers up to 99% accuracy. And because we have this capability built in a product, there is no need to invest in a separate OCR package. The second block is the heart of ProcessMaker IDP and contains the AI engine with various algorithms and pre-trained models for classification and extraction. The last block is a built-in document management system that comes with complete and robust DMS capabilities to store and manage your documents. And it comes with outstanding search capabilities and rich features for full text, metadata, filtering and much more. Now let's take a more detailed look at the document flow when processing it with ProcessMaker IDP. On the input side, we support a wide variety of formats, just as the types mentioned in the previous slides. We have no restrictions to the type of documents that you would like to process. As long as we can capture the knowledge of your expert users, ProcessMaker IDP can do the job. We provide different options to add your documents for processing. We provide a rich user interface for the business user, but also an API for automated ingestion by business applications or processes. In addition, we can automatically load documents from file shares, email boxes and FTP. And of course, we integrate well with ProcessMaker BPM. The first step in the process is important because it's responsible for creating accurate data for further processing by the AI engine. The OCR engine checks if there is machine-readable text available and will validate it if the quality is sufficient. And before it converts images to machine-readable data, it optimizes the image quality with various algorithms to ensure 99% accuracy. In the classification step, the AI engine automatically determines the document type based on its content. And in addition, it is also able to identify subcategories and to tag your documents with topics to describe what it is about. The extraction step is where the AI engine finds and reads the data you need for your business processes. Such data elements include numbers, dates, names, locations, form value, and much, much more. The masking step is where ProcessMaker IDP supports your GDPR requirements by automatically identifying personal data and masking them. In the search step, we create a full text index of all your documents, enabling the strong built-in search capabilities. This allows you to find and retrieve documents based on the content, metadata, advanced filtering, and more. On the output side, we also provide various options, in addition to the business user's interface, to use the data collected by ProcessMaker IDP in your business processes. Most commonly used output formats include JSON or other text formats. Available integration options are via our APIs and ProcessMaker BPM. The knowledge that drives our advanced AI engine is not static. ProcessMaker IDP supports, just like a human, continuous learning using an interactive feedback loop that captures your expert's knowledge. Every action performed by the AI engine comes with an accuracy score. When the score drops below a configurable threshold, for example because of a new document type or a change in business process, the document will be put aside for review by a business user. The business user will validate and, if needed, correct the outcome. This action is then added back to the training data and will automatically be included when retraining the classification model. In this way, you are sure that the AI engine is always up to date and using the most accurate classification model driven by the business user. The next thing we would like to do is to show you how the application looks like and how it works. We will do that with 3 short demos based on example use cases. The first use case is about automated document classification and verification. Imagine a KYC challenge in a customer onboarding process. For that, the customer must provide a mandatory set of documents. A user will have to verify those documents manually and needs to check if all required documents are available and valid. On average, more than 50% of such processes are not first at the right time and have to be returned to the customer, often 2 times or more. The result of this is that roughly 40% of all requests cannot be processed completely the same day. Your employees spend a significant amount of time waiting for and correcting data. So how does ProcessMaker IDP help? ProcessMaker IDP automatically identifies your document types and is able to verify if all mandatory documents are available. And because it is trained by expert users, it reads and extracts data like a human and is able to check for errors. In order to streamline and optimize the process and customer experience, ProcessMaker will provide direct feedback if data is incorrect and will automatically send notifications and reminders. Now let's see a demo.
Yeah, so what we will show right now is the case which is linked to onboarding clients. I will show 3 specific things. The first is how we classify the files, part of the case. The second one is about how to extract and validate a passport. And the last one is what we call so-called cross-document validation, which is all about to use values extracted from the files and how to share that between them. So I will start with creating a folder where I put in all the files for this specific use case. I will call the folder onboarding. Here it is. Next, I will drop in some files which I prepared up front. I have a complete set of 3 files. The first one, which you see at the right of my screen, is an employee file with quite some text. I have a copy of a passport of the involved client, which is actually a scan. And I also have a payslip for that specific person. Let's now drop it into the newly created folder, and we can go on with this. Yeah, so in this specific screen, I have the option to provide some extra info, which I will not do. So we will now start. Actually, now all the files which were locally here stored are uploaded, are in the tool. The processing will start, which means that for some of them, the OCR will be done, which means that an image is converted to text. Right now, let's see what is happening. Yeah, so I open the first file, and you see the file in our built-in viewer. Within the viewer, you can scroll down through a file. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. You have all kinds of options. Next step is, of course, to see what's the outcome is of the processing steps. For that, I go to the right side. And I will open my panel, and then we can see the results. Yeah, so here at the right, we see a long list of attributes. First one I want to point out is the type. So IDP here mentioned that the type of the file is an employee file, which is actually right. And below you see the score attached to that, which is actually a score which tells about how confident it is about this type. You can see that the score is pretty high, so it's quite sure about this. Yeah, below you see some more attribute values, which we will not dive into right now, but I will switch back to the other 2 files we had. We also had a file like this, which is actually a pay slip. So if I look now again at the right side of my screen, and I zoom in into the values extracted, then again here you can see that the type is correct again, and it also has a score which is also quite good. Now we have a specific case, which is actually the passport provided, which I will open right now. Zoom a bit in, and you can see it's a scan. What you see often with some blurry background. Also, yeah, the scan is not correctly straight, but yeah, those are all steps we can deal with. So looking now again at the fields at the right, it has seen that it is indeed a passport, and below you see quite some values which it has extracted from this specific file. Some of them I want to mention, like for instance, the expiration date, which can be used to validate if the passport of this specific person is still valid. Others are names. But there is a bit more. You also see a field called valid checksum. This checksum is actually used to validate if all the information extracted is correctly captured. So with the value true, it means that all is correctly obtained from this file. So we had 3 files, but we still don't know if the set is fully there. So what I can do next is to have a look at the outcome of the case. So if I go again to the icon, I see actually what the outcome is. So I provided 3 files, but it says that for this particular client case, it's not fully there. Looking specifically at the findings below, you can see that there is a form missing. So in the rules, we wanted actually to have 4 files, which would also include a loan form. And it also has found a nice thing in the sense that the name it found of the firm where the employee works is not exactly the same for the employee file provided related to the name mentioned on the payslip. So some more examples you could see here is, for instance, the fact that a document is not valid anymore. You could also see here that, for instance, the names involved on all the files provided are not the same, or, for instance, a birthday is not the same. So yeah, it's just an example. Then back to Wim for case 2. We will switch the screens.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, so use case 2 is about manual data entry, or rather said, eliminating it. Now let's take the process of a loan application. A standard requirement for this is that the customer should provide proof of income using a recent payslip. The user would then review this payslip, look up the relevant data fields, and enter them manually in the business application. A typical challenge, however, is that payslips come in many layouts, and the content of it is hardly consistent. It makes a tedious and time-consuming task with the risk of errors. In fact, employees spend 80% of their time finding the right data and manual data entry. So how can we help with this process? First of all, ProcessMaker IDP does not use templates or fixed positions to find data. It purely works with the available text data and applies AI to identify key values. So you don't have to add new templates when there is a new payslip layout. ProcessMaker IDP can also mask and highlight all key data fields so that it supports the business user with visual validation options. And instead of manual data entry, our APIs will send the extracted and normalized data to your business applications automatically for further processing. Now let's see how that looks like. Richard.
So we will create actually a new folder for the next case. Let's call them payslips. And also for that case, I prepared some nice examples, which are quite real life ones. So let me add those 2 examples. You can see again at the right of my screen what this file looks like. So it's a slip where you see some info about the employee, and at the end also the specific amount paid. The second one, you see, has a complete other look and feel. The attributes on this slip are for sure not as the same. Looking at the names of the labels. Also here, of course, you have an amount paid. So let's add those two files, and also here we will see what it will bring us. And so at the processing side, we first check what the file is, of which type, and depending on the type, we extract some key values. In this particular case, it are the name of the employee, the birth date, the social security number, and at the end the net paid amount. So let's open the files. So first, again, we see that it is actually seen as a type of a payslip file. We also see the score, but right below we see some extra values like the name. We see, for instance, the social security number. We see the birthday of the employee and the net wage. Let's go to the second one. Then we can see that it is it has a complete other look and feel. Names are not at the same position. Values are not the same. Like for instance, if you look at the birth date, you see also that it has not the same format like it had on the other one. But we can still deal with that. So also here, if I open it, you will see those values, and you will see that they are there. Now also, we can also combine them with the values extracted and where they are actually obtained from. So if I go to this function and I say I want to visualize this, I get them on my screen, and so I can see that the name is in blue. I can see the date here in orange. You see also, or you can't actually see it blurred out in this specific case is the social security number, which can be handy for privacy reasons. And of course, we can also make sure that this file can be exported. So below you see the net wage. Over to Wim for the last case.
So our last demo focuses on the area of contract management and discovery. Over 50% of workers spend more time looking for information instead of actually using it. And in fact, it will take them an average of 18 minutes to find a document or contract they're looking for. Another challenge comes in when your archive grows and contracts are stored across multiple silos or locations. It becomes impossible to browse manually through these contracts to find data and hidden value. It gets harder and harder to identify clauses, to find clauses, or to find contracts with missing clauses. Due to this, the risk caused by anomalies increases. So how does this work in ProcessMaker IDP? ProcessMaker IDP comes with strong built-in search capabilities, which will index the full content of your documents, provide metadata search, advanced filtering, and comprehensive search queries. And it is lightning fast. Even with thousands or millions of documents, you will get instant results. Let's see a contract in progress, ProcessMaker IDP.
Indeed, let's do that. Let's go back. So the last case which we present here is indeed about how to deal with those employee files, contracts. Looking at the time, I will go a bit more into our search features, which we haven't seen at the other one. Of course, you are known that we can extract values from those files. So I will speed up a bit. So I added two files looking in the viewer. Those are two scans. So in the background, they are OCR'd, and some values are obtained from them. So looking actually at the right side panel, I get the values. In the meantime, now you see a good score. You see the employee file there. You see some values extracted, like start date, end date. But also we had a look at the clauses part of these files. So here you see a full list of clauses it found in those files. So let's switch now to the option called search. You can find your files stored here back via browsing through folders, which works well, but not if you have thousands of files in folders. So if I go to search, I have quite advanced options there. Let's first have a view on this screen. So at the left side of the screen, you see some filters, like, for instance, we can filter on type. Like, for instance, if I want to see all the invoices stored, I can filter easily. So I have some more here. At the right side of my screen, you see the outcome of the search. We have some options like a row view, a grid view. I can also perform a search quite in depth. Like, for instance, I want to see all the files where the name Jeff is in, and I want to do actually what we call an exact search. So when I open the file, you will also see it marked where it found Jeff. Now back to the search, we can also do some nicer things, like for instance, we could find all the files of a specific type. Like, for instance, we only want to see the employee files who have a fixed type. So here I have them back. We could do a bit more. For instance, we could also say I want to search on a specific clause. So I want to see a clause, like, for instance, an amendment clause. This will, yeah, I know. And now it's better, but I can also say, okay, but not a clause about illness. So now I get only one hit. So when I open the file, we can also show at the right that indeed it contains a clause about amendment, but not about illness. Yeah, we offer loads of more options. You can do full tag search, search on all values extracted. You can define your own filters, like for instance on a date range. So if you want to see all the files created this year, or you want to see all the files where the amount mentioned is below a specific value, those are the things you can do quite easily. Looking at the time, I would say we switch now to Scott.
Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Foster. I'm part of Caceis UK, which is an global asset servicing organization, part of the Credit Agricole and Santander family. Pleasure to be here today, and many thanks for the invitation to share our story and to share our use case of how we have worked with DocuLayer in the past and how it helps us with some of our mission critical products, as Brian put it earlier. And so, conscious of the time as well, I have a hard stop at the hour. So if we could move on to the next slide, please, I'll go whiz through these slides quite quickly. So this is a high-level overview of Caceis and who we are, as I say, and as I mentioned, we are an asset servicing organization, a global custodian, where we are jointly owned by Credit Agricole and Santander, and we're a growing security services provider within the industry. And we have a real emphasis on sustainability, and we have a real emphasis on supporting our clients with helping them get access to all of their insightful investment data on all of their portfolios, whether it be on a pension fund side or on their funds, whether it be on the asset management side as well. So a full range of client types that we service as a part of the Credit Agricole, Santander, and Caceis group. So if we move on to the next slide, please. We'll talk about the UK mission specifically. As I mentioned, I'm a part of the products team. I'm the head of digital and governance services at Caceis UK. And we've really developed a strong product called cost transparency and benchmarking, where we help over 400 billion worth of pension fund assets better understand their costs and charges of running their pension schemes. But in order to do this work and to fulfill this product, we really have to build out a strong and wide network of asset management clients, and as well as that, collect large volumes of data from these asset managers to fulfill the cost transparency reporting requirements that our clients are requesting from us. And the challenge we face as an organization was, as we were growing exponentially from one pension scheme with 3 billion in assets to now over 60 pension schemes with over 400 billion, is how do we process larger volumes of files with the same data accuracy and data quality, which we sort of pride ourselves on. And the classic question is, do we hire more people to run the same process, or do we automate some of the processes and make the processes in which we run the product a bit more smarter? So that led us to a conversation with DocuLayer. We have a Dutch heritage with a lot of Dutch pension scheme clients as a part of the family. And if we move on to the next slide, please. The problem we were trying to solve, as I've briefly described there, is essentially collecting a whole variety of different data formats in a sort of unstructured way, and structuring that into a single kind of template that fits in line with what the regulator and what the industry standard is sort of looking for. And so for each investment mandate that a pension fund runs, we had to collect one template, which can, as I say, come in a wide variety of formats. But the end output needs to be a template with 200 different columns. And so as we're managing that, across our whole client base, we really needed to scale up quickly and use some smart processes to reduce manual error and to ensure that we had high data quality and accuracy in our final output that we pass on to our clients. And so if we move on to the next slide, I believe there are some animations that are coming on this slide as well. So how do we use DocuLayer, and how do we use the tools that are now available through ProcessMaker? We essentially are using one of their key products, which allows us to onboard all of our asset manager contacts to give them a notification to submit data at a certain date by a certain deadline, and in a certain format as well. And that whole process of basically kicking off a project and managing the nudges of submissions of data are all managed through the system. We, as the administration, sort of owners can have a top-down view of the progress of these submissions and make edits or changes to the parameters of each of the data submissions. I think point 3 then goes more into the clients themselves actually uploading that data and then to the system, and then within that system we can smartly identify errors that have been found within each of the data submissions and files that have been uploaded by our asset managers on behalf of these pension schemes. And so that gives our team, our analyst team on the ground, the ability to essentially follow up with any data issues or data queries to make sure that that our clients and our asset manager contacts can fulfill the full template and ensure high data quality. And so I think one of the last points that we have on the slide is, yes, we're really talking about basically transforming unstructured data into a structured format and an output that our clients expect to see. And we aggregate all of that data up into sort of master sheet and then pass that data on to our clients through dashboarding and through the raw data sources itself. And the whole ProcessMaker DocuLayer tool really allows us to automate that client onboarding process, the data upload and data querying process, and it frees up the time of our analysts to work on more complicated tasks and complicated analysis that then helps us better service our clients and add a better client experience and better client value through the output, which is reporting, and bring that data to life through an online dashboard in a quick summary. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Scott. Next up, I'll introduce Peter. If you can join us for a few minutes. I know we're running a bit over time today.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. Thank you very much. I'm Peter de Wit, Product Manager at ProcessMaker IDP. Yeah, so how can we help you? We can help you organization with simplicity of our product. And the simplicity of our product comes from the default configuration that we offer, from pre-trained models that we use, so you can start really soon out of the box with out-of-the-box features. Most features can be enabled by system administrators, so you don't need specialists or consultants to kick off. For the business user, they can use their knowledge of the document while uploading, but also while correcting predicted labels. So if they correct a label, we'll use that information, that knowledge, to improve further or newer predictions for other documents as well. And we have the pipeline with OCR, which automatically extracts the text that the AI features use, so they can do their magic. We don't need any user interaction for classification or entity recognition. Next slide, please. So for the OCR part, where we can help your organization with these unique features, OCR supports 125 languages and language variants, including dialects like and vertical text like Japanese. We can extract tables from documents. And as shown by Richard, we also extract information from ID cards or passports to use this for validating the files or find that nearly expired document. With the barcode and OCR recognition, we can easily enter data. For example, the Dutch driving license has a QR code on the backside, which contains the license number. So you don't have to register that one in an application. We can scan it, we can process it. And the last one, we validate the text layer that's on a document. So if it's bad, of bad quality or corrupt, we can create a new text layer so the user can copy text from the new file. Yeah, speaking about text information extraction, we do that via 3 different ways. The text-based classification, that it's classifying documents for example, document type or topics in a document, and other applications could be predicting the responsible department for the document or the sentiment of the text in the document. We use pre-trained models to recognize entities in documents, for example, personal names, company names, dates, locations, etc. We extract those entities and we can, for example, determine the confidence level of a document. With the powerful and customizable scripts from the IDP script library, we can extract all the information. We also can filter and validate and calculate other data. So how does that help your organization? Well, we can automate those decisions in workflows to speed up your processes. Using data from the document can also prevent user mistakes. As they don't have to enter the data manually, we extract it for them. We can use the information to generate tasks based on the document's content or update metadata in a document storage system. Of course, like Scott mentioned, we can gain more insight by sending that extracted information to a data warehouse. And last but not least, we can actually improve the document by adding the text layer or converting it to a secure PDF. What's next? Well, the upcoming months we'll be working on getting the most out of ProcessMaker by improving the integration. And we'll get more out of the box AI features by adding more pre-trained models for specific target groups, so you don't have to do any training. In case of custom trained models, we want to implement AutoML, which picks the best algorithm for a given data set. This leads to even better results in labeling your documents. Furthermore, we'll extend the current entity recognition feature with support for another 88 languages. Thank you very much. Back to you, Brian.
Well, thanks everybody. This was, I think we covered a lot today, so I know we're over time. We will stay on, answer some questions for anybody else who wants to stay on. I do see a couple questions in here. The first question from Stanley is, are the text searches case sensitive and or insensitive?
It's actually what you want. So we support both.
Okay, great. If you have any other questions, please do type them in the bar. One from Fernando. Do you have any healthcare examples you can share? Perhaps you can send some use cases after the webinar. So that one we can handle after the person had to drop. So they want to see some specific healthcare use cases. So yeah, we can forward those along.
Yeah.
Does the system perform semantic analysis?
Yes, it does. We use natural language processing. Yeah.
Great. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So again, feel free to reach out via email, and we'll be happy to answer any other additional questions. This is the first of many webinars we'll be doing on this subject. And if you're a current client, we look forward to speaking to you with your account manager to see if you have any needs for this technology in your organization. We look forward to speaking more about it. One last question here. Does the system only read typed text, or can it read handwritten text?
It can do both. So it can and also use handwritten text, but in practice you will see that the accuracy with that is lower often.
Okay. A couple more questions. Does the platform have multilingual support for extraction?
Yes, we have. Yeah. For extraction, depending on the type you choose, we have up to 121 languages.
Okay. And what about with Google Workspace documents? Can we work with Google Workspace documents?
Yes, we can extract values from that. The viewer right now can't show them, but we can still process those files.
Okay, we have another question here around RPA. Do we do RPA in addition to IDP? I can answer that one. So we don't do RPA per se. We do work with partners who do RPA. So if you're looking to do something with data that's been extracted that ProcessMaker doesn't do, we have a number of partners we can recommend for that. Another question, is this an on-premise or cloud solution?
Both actually. We have both cloud and on-prem clients with this.
Yeah, so the next question relates to that as well. So I think that is an important point. This solution is available both in the cloud or on-premise. So if you want all of your data on-premise, that is not a problem. We do implement it on-premise.
Exactly.
Are there document keywords? Is there a document keyword dictionary, for example, in French versus US? I think is the question here.
Depends on what you want to do with that. If it's specifically for search, like stop words, you can define them. Yeah. If it's more like for extraction, then we have some pre-trained models which contain, of course, text. Yeah.
Okay. Rodwan, we're happy to speak to you afterwards about what you exactly mean by that question. Anything else here? I think that he said for search extraction. So yeah, I mean, we can search and extract in any language.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's about it. If other questions come up, again, feel free to send them to us, and we'll be happy to answer them. So just want to thank everybody for participating and staying with us. Hopefully you're as excited as we are about this new addition to ProcessMaker and what we can now do with these solutions. So we look forward to speaking to each of you in the future. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.